Hello and welcome back to Fiend Fun Time. Here we are. Not playing 6 today. I have been playing 6 and we might do some 6 tomorrow. Who knows? But today we're going to be doing some workers and resources. I have been playing a lot of this game. As you can tell, I'm in realistic mode. So I've got my boys, my truck workers here, kind of just driving around, fixing up the place and getting it ready so that we can actually have a population. I don't think I'll be able to get any people in the city by the time this video is over. This is a very hard game, and it's very slow. Now I'm going to crack open a nice beverage to start this video out. Good times, good times. Thank you everyone for watching the last few episodes. It is very nice to see something go from low viewership to middling viewership to good viewership. That's exactly how you want to say it. You want to say it go down and then back up. And I don't like to get too meta, but I do acknowledge the fact that this is all bound to other people and my own work kind of affects it, but still, everyone watching helps out the most, so thank you. So here we are, workers and resources. We have quite a few things to talk about. Primarily, I'd like to talk about South Park, and I might get a little bit more detail about this episode than the last one. So if there are spoilers, you could skip ahead. I'll tell you when I start talking about it, but right now we're going to talk about some workers and resources, what I'm doing in the background while I start playing, and so that we can understand what's going on. Okay, take a big old sip. Today's juice is Mango Loco. Not a juice, but an energy drink. Fucking delicious. So, what do we got going here? We've got our town, or rather a industry area. And please pause it real quick so we can see what's going on. These 6 guys here are construction offices. These people, essentially, make sure this game is actually not too loud. Probably is. Alright, there we go. That audio should be good. Sometimes it's hard when you play a new game because you don't know how the audio works. And with Songs of 6, for example, the music is so loud that you actually will not hear me talking. An interesting thing I learned very early on when I recorded Songs of 6. So, yes, here's our construction offices. Each one of these offices has a number of parking spots, and essentially they dictate work that is done in the area around them. So each one of these guys works in conjunction to complete tasks like this building here, which is a fabric factory. And also this building here, which is a forklift garage. We are basically setting ourselves up for a little work area for our people. We've got all of our building stuff here, and we've got our other stuff over the side. I like to keep it minimized here. And as you go, you're progressing through the 1960s, 70s, 80s into modern time. And you unlock new vehicles, new technologies, all kinds of cool stuff. Essentially trying to keep your Soviet Republic going and from bankruptcy, while also producing your own resources. So these guys are the start, and then we have things like this. This is aggregate storage. We've got, these are open storage. It's just empty buildings that are designed for free stuff. Then we have road depots, which establish basically carrying people around or things around. So if I wanted to, I could have my dumper here, my big old dumpy. I'll start delivering, and we're gonna actually need to send our cistern on a trip. So the cistern here, he's our first truck that we're gonna need in the whole building scheme here. He goes and he delivers gasoline or fuel to this little proverbial gas station, tiny little gas station where they just fuel their trucks and they drive away. And then what his job is, he'll come back here and he goes to what is called the customs house, and he purchases some more fuel at a decent price. It's not cheap, that's for sure, but you have a lot of money, you have millions of dollars, so you can kind of get away with it for a while. And he'll take that, and what I have him set to do is actually go back to there. So we're gonna actually have him go skip that, move to this stop, so he goes back and he delivers his gas, and that way we've got 11, and then we'll have him go back again, and we'll do it one more time after that. And this game has intricate systems. So a lot of these systems are very unique. So we have heating, plumbing, electricity, and waste, along with all the other storage types or structural types for transportation, cargo, aggregate. This is what like Sims and City Skylines should have done, but they didn't do. And essentially what's going on here, I may have this building wrong, this setup wrong. I haven't established a city yet. I have only begun learning, and I've played a lot of this game actually, but I haven't played in realistic as much as I'd like to. So established this area here. This is our quarry, and I'll talk about the water zone in a second, but this is our quarry. So now that it is set up, we have a building for it. We have a bus stop for people to get delivered to, and we also have a gravel processing plant. So what I'll need to do is go ahead and put a road depot. Put it pretty much anywhere. That guy's coming out of there though, so we might want to just kind of put him off to the side or back here. Well, it is actually a building that doesn't need power, so I think we will just skip that for now and actually just buy it from here. And we need 2 dumpers. They don't need to be too big because they're just driving up and down the street. And that should be good for what we're doing there. And we have our buses ready to go. So what we'll do is we'll create a stop. We start them at the customs. They pick up people and they unload them. They'll drive over here and then they will drop them off. And that's their job. There we go. And we'll copy this to a additional bus. And then we'll start that bus as well. So we can start our trips. And these guys will take busloads of people from here to here. And there's foreign national workers that will like to come work in your city just for money. You know, they need to get paid. I don't even know if they get paid. I think they do. But this is how you establish your city before you actually even have any real infrastructure. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating the backbone so that the rest of this is all roads I've created, by the way. They're dirt roads, but these asphalt roads, I've had to actually pave them, right? I don't just build things. It takes time. And these cement trucks and these other rollers and these dumpers and stuff, they come along and they actually fill these out with asphalt. It is an amazing game. And I look forward to playing some more of it on the channel, but like I said, I haven't gotten as far as I'd like. So we're going to be playing along. And last but not least, let me tell you about the little water plant here. I believe I've got this right. I might have it wrong. Let me actually get the water truck before I... so this is a water loading unloading station. And then what's next to it is a water small pump station. And I believe that this connected to here will pump water. I'm a plumber, so this is how it should work. Pumping water, okay. Pump engine is on. Building is without power supply. Okay, well that's not good. And then this will get filled by water, and then this will give water to this substation over here, which is feeding water to every other area around this square. What we do need though is some electricity to go to our substation here. And as it's kind of an electrical area, like a water-based area, I don't want to keep my substation. I don't think it matters, but it's just for like my brain here. I think we're better off putting it here because that way it's centralized. And then we put this like that. I'm very finicky about my placements. Because once you place it, it's there. Okay, and then we can take some wires. And now this is another part that I struggled pretty hard on. It's actually setting up the wiring, because it doesn't tell you how to. So we do that, and we go over here, and then drop that down there. And you have to hit this start construction of planned infrastructure. This tiny, tiny, tiny little button over here on the bottom right. That will get them yellow, and they will start working on that. Biggest issue I found is I couldn't actually build those, and they didn't want to because I didn't click that. So now that I know how to do that, I can actually build a decent city, or at least try to. So these guys, we've got workers here. We've got workers up here, right? Okay, now what we can do is import power. Now, power station with power. Building is without drinking water, that's fine. Right? He's got power. Cannot store or export. Okay, so what we do is we take our 2 dumpers here. And we have Dumpy 1. Go down here and deliver. Copy that over to Dumpy 2. And we get them going. And they will deliver stone from here to there. And the reason you'll think, well, what are you going to do with the quarried stone that gets turned into gravel? It's going to be sitting here, right? Well, yes, that's why we got Dumper 3, Big Dumper. He's going to come along and he's going to actually take that. And I think this is the aggregate storage. So yeah, he will take it to here, aggregate storage, and all of my buildings here are going to start getting their stuff from here. Although this one doesn't matter because they buses. I try to keep all the areas with the same type of vehicle. You can see we have like our tractor rollers here. We have our excavators and dumpers. They work together. We've got more excavators over here. These are the nice excavators. These are our shittier excavators. This game like hits that little autistic nerve in my brain. That's like, you get to build actual roads and stuff. And look at this too. This is a tower crane. So in order to actually deliver this big boy has to take it places. And if I want to, I can actually set up pretty nice jobs that way. Ideally though, we want to continue building our asphalt roads so that they have a nice highway, centralized highway to go over. And the reason why we have two roads here is so that when people are coming along, they don't get caught up on the fact that this road is under construction. They actually cannot go around it. They have to go a different way. Or just not at all. And that can lead you to some pretty shitty spots. Alright, we want to do that. And we want to create a nice intersection here, because now that that's done, we can actually upgrade this too. So we've upgraded this main road pretty well. And these guys are going to continue working on that. We also have a nice bridge that's being built over here. I think, yeah, we're just too far away. We need to assign these guys. I think they're too far away. No construction offices have a path to this place. What do you mean you don't have a path to it? That doesn't make sense. Alright, whatever. But what I'm doing here is... Oh no! That's really annoying. We deleted our electricity. We're trying to create a back road for our area so that we can actually get up this mountain here. We're gonna have to do it differently, probably. Alright, let's build that electric wire back. Actually, no, I think we can just cancel it. Yeah, there we go. Nice part about realistic building there. Can't just immediately destroy stuff. You need to actually have a demo office, and I don't have a demo office, so we'll have a struggle doing that. Last thing I want to actually add into this area as well is we need a clothing factory here. And a nice thing about this game too is that a building, if you don't like its structure or shape, you can actually mirror it so that if it's not properly set up for you, you can actually change that. It was an amazing feature that a lot of games kind of look over. This one does not. So let's get that in there. So let's talk about what I wanted to talk about, because this one is going to be a little bit of a heavier handed topic because it's South Park. And like I said, if you're interested in not hearing spoilers, click away or skip ahead. But we're going to talk about it because it's been very divisive. Obviously, they have always been, but as someone who sits firmly in the center of a political spectrum, I find this very interesting because it's pulling the people's true perspective into light. I should say, like, people are letting their true evil faces show, especially when they think they're being supported and they're really not being supported. And what I mean by that is, like, with this whole Donald Trump thing, a lot of people watching South Park right now think that it's just specifically against Donald Trump, and I think they miss that it's been against every wealthy, rich, evil, corrupt type of character that has ever existed across the board, and that's just because, as someone who's like a clown or clown-like, I think they understand this concept just like I do. Your intention is to make the people laugh. You're not making the people that pay you laugh. You often will do it at their expense, intentionally. That's how jesters work. That's how clowns kind of always worked. And they pick they pick on people who are a little too big to be picked on or don't want to be picked on. Essentially, what South Park does in stride, and with this latest episode, they do so with oh, excuse me, ice is the backdrop, where Mr. Mackey, the school guidance counselor, actually gets fired immediately because he's not considered useful because Jesus is now much more useful in the midst of a mental health crisis, which is hilarious because it's something that's pushed onto a lot of people that there's this mental health crisis, and now all of a sudden it's being neglected, which I think brings to attention some really serious issues. Take a sip here. Like, when you do that to kids, their life doesn't just instantly get better, or it starts to get significantly worse, I imagine. And now that they're confused and they don't know what to do, and with all the political strife and everything telling them to be this way or that, it's very, very scary. And it brings that to note by taking Clyde and creating him as this radicalized Charlie Kirk type character who is essentially just an 18-year-old. I've been aware of him. I don't know how old he is now, but he feels like an 18-year-old. Fucking high school student who never graduated, and fucking debate club was his peak. And essentially what Clyde is doing, Cartman is upset that he is stealing his stick. His stick is that he is the racist one. He is the one that comments on minority groups like women and other people and makes fun of them for his own gain. Yes, as we go. Let's go. We almost got it out here. We're trying to get this fucking road up the hill. And as you can see, it's not so simple. So essentially, Cartman beats him up and takes his position. All of this is extremely well written. And by the way, this episode hits like a fucking truck at the end of it because it establishes that Mr. Mackey is working to make money to support his extremely high debt. He isn't doing it for any other reason. He's not malicious in his intentions to hurt people. It's literally just because he is insecure. He feels like he needs to make this money and he has no other way to do it because he just got fired immediately. So on his way to doing this, he gets joined into fucking ICE, and they do so in like a 1940s World War II film fucking style, and it's hilarious. It's well done too. And this whole thing all culminates with him meeting the director of ICE and so on and so forth, and then making fun of her. And finally, he raids a Dora the Explorer show or whatever. And this just kind of comes off as a comedy episode. It's very comedic, but on the deeper level, this is actually one of their heaviest hitting episodes because Mr. Mackey obviously is very confused and very aware of what he's doing is bad. And then they like streamline him to success, which is an interestingly funny thing that happens to him, like that he's being success looped into this thing. Like, do these guys have power? The source is not saying. So essentially, Donald Trump wants to meet him and say, "You've been doing a great job, and I appreciate you." And he does. He goes to Mar-a-Lago, which is one of the president's properties or whatever. I don't know too much about it. And in the background, you can immediately see that it took me a second afterwards, but I'm positive these are the people that they were kidnapping and abducting for their fucking ICE program there to send them home, quote unquote. And in reality, they're just working on Trump's island with all these rich, mega elite people getting back massages and other things and getting lubed up with all kinds of super bad, just really horrible double entendres. Yes. Pumping. Watered. Building. Watered. Yes. Power. Yeah. So now we have to work on sewage. This takes a long time. And essentially what happens is Cartman was going to win what he thought was going to be a trip to a 5-star location or hotel because he was the best master debater here. And it's a hilarious joke that they've been going on with. And like I said, it's lost a little bit in the nuance of the comedy. But if you're paying attention, you'll realize that the kid Clyde that won actually has been sexually assaulted on this poor island that he won a trip to. And it's commenting very obviously, and if you missed this, maybe I'm just talking about my ass here, but that it's just a cycle. It's this terrible cycle, like people like Charlie Kirk get indoctrinated into, and they think that it's cool and that it's interesting, and then all of a sudden they realize they found out that they're being manipulated. You know, they're being misused and mistreated. And he even says it. He's like, I just want to go home, and it wraps it up in such a perfect way, because at the beginning of the episode, Clyde and Mr. Mackey are in the office, in his guidance counselor office, and these guys are talking about, you know, what's going on and getting his quote-unquote nut, which is like his amount of money he makes per year, but it's a joke on obviously coming. And this gets Mr. Mackey fired. This immediately, not his as a result, but it just immediately comes with him fired. And then it returns back to that at the end of the episode, where they're both sitting across from each other talking about what happened, and how literally all this little kid needed was a guidance counselor. He didn't need Jesus or any of this other stuff. He just needed somebody who made it their life to actually care about people. And in that episode, in that whole 22 minutes, they managed to cram, like professional fucking masterminds, this whole story and throw it out there as though it's a joke. In reality, it's to somebody, and many people who've been a victim of assault or any of these types of scenarios, this speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to many people, because it's very, very hard to get across these types of issues in a nuanced way. And thankfully for them, we've gotten that kind of thing many, many times. No workers or mechanism. Construction is not assigned to a construction office. Can it be, though? But that was my 2 cents. And like I said, I want to... Oh, I see. I want to get these things set up or talk about these things because it's important to me. And I think that commenting on them or bringing them to light is very valuable. And for a long time, I was skeptical of the idea. But upon doing it and actually following through with what I had wanted to do and seeing people's support of it, I feel more validated in the process. So expect to see more breakdowns of different media and concepts that I see, especially with my own intake, because I think there's a lot of stuff to be learned from media and other things like that. I mean, that's where I grew up, essentially, as online, and I raised myself up, figured out what was right and what was wrong. And I think that's the same power that anybody has. You don't necessarily need a guidance counselor, although they do help, but you really have to find that power within yourself to be a better person and not a scumbag asshole. Which, yeah, it's hard. I understand that too, but you're only ultimately hurting yourself. Look at that. Yes, I love this. That's why I wanted to play this video game today, because the music, the little fucking Russian music as these guys drive up through the hills, through the mountains. So I think these guys are delivering... They need to deliver materials over here. And what's essentially happening is this is going to happen to connect up to the NATO zone. And we can actually start kind of cutting this around here. We're not going to be able to do it too much because of the fact that our construction vehicles are underexposed. You can't straighten out slopes unless you have your excavators free. Ah, come on. I know it's not that steep. That is not that steep. Come on. Don't you do this to me. Sometimes you just have to do it like that. And obviously I could build a mountain tunnel, but if you look, it's gonna cost a lot of fucking resources to like connect here. 20,000 days. Yeah, no, that's not happening. We build the road up and around like is true to our Soviet ancestors. Oh no. Oh no. The power. The power. This is a fucking road if I've ever seen one. Yes. Fuck you. Alright, now we can connect up to our other road down here. Damn. We could do this. I believe in myself. I have to focus, though. Focus up. This is the hardest road you've ever made. As they all do the work for me. Oh, it's right there. Come on. There we go. Yes. And then once these are connected, we can actually start selling to NATO. Making some money off of them. I don't think they care for our products, but it's okay because it's more about the accomplishment than anything. Let's take that back a little bit there, and let's take this, connect them. Nice. All the way, all the way, all the way to here. So these guys, they will give me vehicles. I can purchase new vehicles from the United States and across the world, but you can see they are obviously very, very expensive and much more useful than the Soviet counterparts that they come with. And what's really cool about this game is you can see obviously these are the Americans, but each side dictates where you're going to be getting stuff. So on this side I seem to get more Soviet stuff. On the other side of the map I get like Ukrainian and Czechoslovakian stuff. So it's much, much different. Yeah, we're working on our sewage station now. The sewage station is going to need a pump, I think, as well, to pump sewage through it. And then we will have the sewage actually dumping out into the ocean. I probably should have built that over there, but it's okay. We can just reach over there. It's better to have this stuff tucked up against the mountain here, as it's going to be out of the way. And we can't really build on the mountain, so this might as well use that space up. But yeah, this little game here is definitely one of the best games. I think I'm going to let it go for today, though, because there's nothing else for me to do, as I've got to wait for the next couple hours until these buildings. And I say couple hours, but they do build pretty quickly. But it takes a while to establish yourself, and then once you do, I think you start to get a lot quicker. I heavily recommend it. If it's not on sale, go get it still. I think that it's worth its weight in fucking gold for sure. And you'll get just as many hours as I have. I've gotten probably 400 or so hours, it feels like. And most of what I do is sit here. Even if you don't want to play realistic mode, I do because I like that challenge. I personally want to see more of the people riding around their personal cars that I built out of a factory that are coming down the road. Like, that stuff really interests me. So we're going to be doing some of that probably in another episode. Like I said, there's going to be another episode probably tomorrow on Songs of Six where I'll do a longer, more intricate video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.